Hi everyone, this is Asma Khalid from Cyberpanel, and in today's video we will be talking about how to speed up your WooCommerce store. So basically WooCommerce is a plugin which turns your simple WordPress site into an e-commerce site, and using that e-commerce site you can generate your revenue, set up your store and have an online presence for your products. So in this video, we'll be talking about what kind of challenges does a website faces when it is slowed down and how you can resolve this problem. So without further ado, let's just jump straight to the video. Okay, the speed of WooCommerce store is important because the better conversion rate also depends upon the speed. If your website is slowed, your customers would not want to stay on the site. They would abandon your site immediately and move on to a faster site. So the conversion rate will drop down if your WooCommerce store is not fast enough. Fast sites results in higher search engine rankings. So that would mean a better SEO. Your site will be on top of all the search engines, which will result again in a higher number of conversions. Slow site affects the sales since abandonment rate is high. So of course, if your site is slowed down, people are leaving your site, how can you generate more sales? Lastly, the fast site increases user engagement. The faster the site is, the more customers would want to roam around your site, click on stuff, buy stuff. Your conversion rate will be high, your engagement rate will be high, and overall, the performance of your site will be really good. All right, now let's check out how basically you can identify a slow WooCommerce store. How would you know even that your site is performing low? So there are basically two ways or two portions of your site that you need to check. Number one is the front end. Number two is the back end. Now for front end, you need to check for CSS, JS, and images. We are going to use GT metrics for it. So what you can do is very easily come on to your GT Matrix site on here, copy your site's URL and test your site. So it's a really good site to check your basics of your site, the front end of your site, and it's going to give you a lot of information to act upon. So this is a dummy site that I just created for this video. All right, so over here you can see that right off the bat, GT Matrix is giving us a lot of information. It's giving us the summary, the performance, structure, waterfall, video history. It's giving us a lot of information through these tabs. Now you can go through these tabs one by one. For example, right now I'm on summary. You can go on performance. Next, you can go on structure, your waterfall. And by going through each one of these tabs, what you can do is you can improve upon your site. For example, this is a dummy site, so of course it's going to give me a really good information, but when I'm going to install my plugins, my add my products, it's going to get a little heavier. It's going to give a little red flags. So what you can do is you can go through all of these tabs one by one: structure, waterfall, performance, and you can check out what kind of issues your site is facing, and you can correct them. And GT Matrix is also really good. After deploying every plugin, you can come on the site and check out whether it's going to affect your speed or not. Next, for the backend, you can always go and check out our video for how you can identify a slow WooCommerce store using loader.io. The link for which is mentioned in the description of this video. Do check that out and you'll be able to know how you can check the performance of the backend. Okay, so this is an important one: to optimize WooCommerce plugin settings. So you need to optimize your WooCommerce plugin settings for optimization purposes. So let's check out how you can do those. So there are basically three things that you need to do. Number one, it is to change your WP login page URL. Number two is to disable pingbacks, and number 3 is to limit the number of posts on your blog feed. So let's check out one by one. Number first was to change your WP login page URL. So the login page URL is basically this one, the WP admin one, but this is so common that every hacker knows that someone is using this URL whenever. So what they can do is they can come on to this URL and use brute force to gain access to your site. Even the bots will slow site by making frequent requests. So it is important to change this. To change this, what you can do is go into your dashboard, plugins, click on add new, and you need to add a plugin called change WP admin login. Once you do that, click on install now, and activate it. So now that it is activated, you will be able to see that here it is ready to use. So simply go into your settings. From your settings, click on permalinks, and in permalink scroll down and you will see your change WP admin login. Now before this plugin you won't be able to see this section, but with this plugin you will be able to see this section. So right now it's saying WP admin. So what you can do is simply in the login URL you can, instead of WP admin, you can say login, or you can even say sign up, whichever ones you want. So uh, write the one that suits you and click on save changes. Once you do that, your this URL will change. So let's just check that out. So now your whenever your login page will open up, you'll, instead of seeing WP admin, you'll able to see login over there. So that's how you can very simply change your login URL. Now number second is to disable pingbacks on your site. Since you need to do that, since it generates user spam, so for that go into your settings, go into discussion, and by default the top two options are enabled. You need to disable them. So allow link notification from other blogs, or which means pingbacks and trackbacks. Once you do that, scroll down, click on save changes, and you're done. Now the number third part to optimize your WooCommerce plugin is to limit the number of posts on your blog feed. Now it helps if you run a high traffic blog. So if there are a lot of information content on your site, you need to limit the number of blogs. So for that, click on reading again from the settings menu. And for example, if your blog has like 100 blog pages, so what you can do is limit it to 5 posts to show at most, and click on save changes. This is how you can optimize your WooCommerce plugin settings. Alright, now let's check out the next option to speed up your WooCommerce site, which is to increase the memory limit for your WordPress site. Now WordPress memory limit by default is only 32 MB. So, but a WooCommerce store requires much more than 32 MB. So what you can do is you can just simply go and increase that memory limit. Let's check out how you can do that. Come on your dashboard, your WordPress dashboard, go into your plugins. Since we need to first of all access the file manager, for that we need a plugin. Search for file manager. This one, click on install now. Once it is installed, click on activate and your plugin is activated. And you will be able to see this tab over here. Click on that. and your file manager is opening up. Now this is the file manager for your WordPress site. Now in public HTML, you need to access wp-config.php, right click on it, click on code editor, and a pop-up window will open up. No thanks. Okay, so here we go. Now we need to add the piece of code which will give us access, or which will increase our memory limit. That is this little piece of code. Copy this code. I'll also mention this in the description of this video, and paste it at the beginning of your code. So let's say you can paste it over here. I'm going to just enter his and click paste it over here and click on save and close. Once that is done, your memory limit for your WordPress site will increase from 32 MB to 256 MB, and that's how you can increase memory limit for your WordPress site. Okay, next is full page caching. So full page caching basically lets you save the pages of your site as static files after they are visited first by the users. Now it is easy to cache a static file. The tricky part is the most WordPress sites cannot be cached as easily as that, because many elements are generated dynamically according to each user's request and information received from their third parties. So LS cache is basically used, it is intelligent enough to cache dynamic resources using tag based caching. You get LS cache by default in your WordPress site if you're using Cyberpanel, but if you don't, you need to install LS cache if you don't have it. So once you do that, let's check out how you can do full page caching with it. So once you have installed and activated your Lightspeed cache plugin, you'll see Lightspeed cache option over here. In over here, click on cache, and in this window you will see lots of options. For example, like cache, TL, purge, excludes, ESI, object, browser, advanced, and WooCommerce. So let's within the cache tab, we are going to do some changes for our full page caching. So enable cache, this is turned on, keep it on so cache will work. This is default page caching of LS cache. Next is cache logged in users. Now cache pages for logged in users, so you need to turn this on. Next is cache login page. Right over here, you can keep it on because login page won't change much. It's always the same. Your sign up page, your sign in page, it's always the same, so you need to turn this on. Next is cache PHP resources. This will basically cache your dynamic resources and store them as static pages. Next is the cache mobile. Now if you have a different theme for your mobile phones, then only keep it on. You can turn this one on. So, and lastly we have drop query string. Now to achieve, scroll down, it's at the very end of the page. To achieve better maintenance and higher performance, it is worthwhile to drop query strings from URLs and create a single cache copy. So once you are done, click on save pages and you have done full page caching. Okay, so the next one is to optimize your images. Now there are a number of reasons why you should optimize the images on your homepage. The most common of it all is that it often contains lots of large images that can slow down page load time significantly. So for example, if you have really high quality images, they can basically slow down your page. They're quite heavy and your load time will increase a lot. So what you can do is you can simply optimize your images, lower their quality a little bit, optimize them so that your page loading time will be improved significantly. So you can do that using LS Cache. Again, LS Cache is a very good and multi-functional plugin. So instead of getting a lot different types of plugin for different type of functionality, you can get simply one plugin which have multiple functionality. So now let's check out how you can optimize your images using ls cache plugin or lightspeed cache. Okay, so in your lightspeed tab, all you have to do is click on image optimization and click on gather image data. Now clicking on this button will start the optimization progress. So for example, right now this is a dummy site, it doesn't have images on it. I don't have any products on it, so that it doesn't have any images on it. But when I have images in my site, it's going to optimize them, and you will be able to see all the information of your optimization in this in this side of the screen on the right side. So this is how you can very simply optimize your images using ls cache plugin. Okay, next is to deliver static resources via CDN. So why is it important to deliver them via CDN? So there are multiple benefits. Number one is that it enables parallel downloads in browser, and a result increases page speed and performance. Number two, it reduces server load time by offloading static files to CDN. And number three, it reduces bandwidth usage on the origin server. Again, now if you already have ls cache installed, there is no need to install any third party plugin to use CDN to deliver static resources. What you can simply do is go into your lightspeed cache. From here, click on CDN, and once this page is opened up, enter your CDN URL over here and click on save changes. Of course, the most important thing is that only use this option to set up a third party CDN like Bunny CDN or Key CDN. But if you're using Cloudflare or Quick Cloud, you really don't need to use this option. You can just skip through this part. Okay, next is to minify JavaScript and CSS files. Now, minifying CSS and JS files can help speed up your WooCommerce site, basically the front end of your site, since it eliminates white space, comments in the code, and other bit of extra code that are not necessary for the functioning of your website. Again, you can use your Lightspeed cache for minifying JavaScript and CSS files. All you have to do is go into your dashboard, go into your Lightspeed cache. From the left hand side menu, click on page optimization, and from here you have option of CSS settings. All you have to do is turn this little CSS minify tab on and click on save changes. It's going to minify your CSS files. Again, in the same way, you'll see your JS settings tab right on top. Click on that, and the JS minify tab, turn this on, click on save changes, and it's going to minify your JS files. It's super simple to minify JS files and CSS files using Lightspeed cache. Okay, next is to remove not needed JavaScript and CSS style sheets. So more often than not, developers are just lazy and they will import JavaScript or CSS files in a base file. Now these base files will include those files in all the pages of your site, even when it is not used. So why should you keep those files when they are actually slowing down your site? So what you can do is you can simply remove these style sheets. So for that, you can use a plugin called Asset Cleanup Page Speed Booster. So what you can do is go into your dashboard. From here, click on plugins, click on add new, and search for Asset Cleanup. So this is the one with 100,000 active installations. Install it. Once it is installed, activate it. And what it's going to do is just simply go into your pages and you'll see that now when you just drag your cursor on a page, you'll see manage CSS and JS files right over here. Before that, before installing this plugin, you will not be able to see this tab over here. So right now, for example, with sample page, I have managed CSS and JS files. Why should I need that? So simply click on that, and from here you can delete your you can delete this CSS and JS style sheet, and it's going to increase the speed of your page significantly. Okay, so next is to optimize your WooCommerce database. So we already have a complete guide on how you can optimize your WordPress database. Do check it out. It's in the description of this video. You can also see it on your screen. So what it is that it's going to optimize all of your database. So by default, your WordPress site has 11, sometimes 12 tables in your database, and when you turn it into an e-commerce store, there are so many more tables that are created for your products, for your invoices, and so much more. So what you can do is you can optimize your WooCommerce database using those methods that is mentioned in our video. Next is, or lastly is, to focus on mobile first experience. Now, mobile phones have a conversion rate that is less than half that of desktop users. Now, there's a lot of opportunity for improvement there. You can increase that, since a lot of our users, our viewers are using mobile phones for shopping purposes. So we can improve on that. So building your WooCommerce shop mobile friendly is a good place to start. Now, how to see whether your site meets the basic mobile usability guidelines? For that, what you can do is go into your browser and search for Google's mobile friendly test. Mobile friendly test. Click on that, the first one that appears, and what you can do is you can copy your site's URL and paste it over here. Click on test URL. So what it is going to do is this site is going to provide you with a visual representation of how your website will appear on your mobile device, and essentially it's going to tell you whether or not it's mobile friendly or not. So right now my page is mobile friendly. You can click on view tested page and it's going to show you your HTML for that. Also, what you can do is after adding any new feature in your WordPress site, you can again copy your URL, paste it in here and retest it, whether to check out whether or not that functionality, that feature that you just added is impacting negatively on your mobile friendly interface or not. So this is a really good test for that. So this is how you can basically speed up the speed of your WooCommerce store. I hope this is a very informative video for you all, and if you still have any questions, just drop a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe Cyber Panel.